Let's clap it up, clap it up. All right. Brotherhood class. It's Tuesday night. Brotherhood class, you know? We always say, what do we always say? Brotherhood is synonymous with sisterhood. So sisters have to be able to, whatever we speaking about, we're not just speaking to the brothers, we also speaking to the sisters. Sisters have to be able to relate. Just because we say brothers don't mean we mean brothers, we mean brothers and sisters. As a matter of fact, I might start saying brothers and sisters. You understand? This is Tuesday night brotherhood class, and we're going to get into some brotherhood. We're going to talk about brotherhood. One thing about us as Israel, as the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and natives, we love a lie. You understand? We love to believe the untruth. We have been told the untruth ever since we've been on the shores of America. You understand? We have always been told the untruth. You understand? Even we were in captivity, in the Assyrian captivity, in Babylonian captivity, in the Egyptian captivity. You understand? These are things that other nations do to us because they know when they give us the untruth, we're going to eat it up. When we eat up that untruth, it puts us in iniquity with the Most High. You understand?
Right.
Because when we begin to believe in these untruths, we begin to live in these untruths. You understand? What do I mean by that? We talked about it. We kind of talked about it, touched on it last night. You understand? It's just like believing that someone's going to, or voting is going to pull us out of this hellhole that we're in. You understand? That's adding sin upon sin. Most High told us not to put anyone over us that he did not choose. We're going to vote. Then not only are we going to vote, we're going to vote and put an oppressor over top of us. We step into this Democrat and Republican believing that these things are going to change our lives. You understand? We believe all of these things. You understand? We love to believe the untruth. You understand? So let's touch on some stuff. You got any questions? No questions. No question. You know everything. He said, I don't know everything. Me either, bro. Hey, listen, we on the same journey. You understand?
Yeah, I got one question, sir.
Go ahead.
I had a question that was asked to me yesterday. It said, "Is the way of the UPK the only way?"
The only way to what? That's the first thing you have to ask. Now, if he's talking about the only way to salvation, the only way to justice, you understand, things like that, through these laws, statutes, and commandments, yes. He said there is no other way. You understand? Righteousness only comes through the UPK in these laws, statutes, and commandments under commanding General Yohanan. You understand what I'm saying? The Christian church, we just talked about this earlier. This is what we were talking about earlier. You understand? For hundreds of years, the Christian church has been destroying black people. Look at the Christian church. Look at these mega churches, right? What have these mega churches done for the neighborhoods that they've been in? Robbed them. Look at every church in every neighborhood, right? You look at every church in every neighborhood. Think about the billions of dollars that they collect every year. I have yet to see a single neighborhood built from a church. None. This is the truth. Remember, there is only one truth. You understand? There's only one Most High, only one Christ, only one truth, only one West. You understand? Right here is where you get that truth at. There is no other place. You understand? You're not going to get that through a Jewish synagogue. You're not going to get that through a Muslim mosque. You're not going to get that through Buddha. You're not going to get that through Egyptology and learning about Egyptians and mausoleums and all of this other bull crap that they feed us. You understand? This is the truth. This is the way. This is the life. Right here. Any other way is a wide road to destruction. You understand?
There
There is no other way. This is the truth. You understand? And I want to touch on again. I want to go back to my favorite scripture. I used it last night. I'm gonna use it again. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 3. We're gonna start right there. This is just the base, and we're only going to use the top of this, right? The base, the beginning of this scripture is a powerful start to a scripture. You understand? Because the base of this scripture is the reason why we're in the condition we're in today. Because we believe, we love to believe the untruth. You understand? You got that?
Come.
Read that first part of that scripture.
The book of 2 Thessalonians, chapter 2 and verse 2.
3. Is that 3? Verse 3?
Slightly so, verse 3. The book of 2 Thessalonians, chapter 2 and verse 3. Let no man deceive you by any means.
Listen to that, right? That's powerful in itself. It says, let no man deceive you by any means. Listen, it didn't just say, let no man deceive you. It says, let no man deceive you by any means, by any ways. Think about what's going on. Think about what's happening. Think about what's being told to you. Let no man deceive you by any means. Now let's veer off a little bit, right? Staying on the subject. You understand? Think about Martin Luther King and integration. Think about Martin Luther King and integration. Look at what integration did to us. Because we were deceived into believing that we were going to be equal with our oppressor. Right? We believed that integration was going to level the playing field. At the time before integration, during segregation, we had our own hospitals, we had our own restaurants, we had our own parks, we had our own rec centers, we had our own churches, our own schools. You understand? Our own colleges. Integration took all of that from us. Why did integration take all of that from us? Because our people did not understand that when you integrate into anything, you become the very thing that you integrate into. There is no getting around it. When you integrate into anything, you become the thing that you integrate into. Example, you ever see that? I always use this as an example. You ever see Star Trek, the third generation, the next generation? All right, they had an entity on Star Trek, the next generation called the Borg, right? And the Borg went around space, eating up and destroying planets. The Borg would always tell the people of the planet that they encountered, it's better to be a part of us. Come and be a part of the Borg. Life will be better. Life will be great. Life will be wonderful. Everything that you could imagine will be yours if you become a part of the Borg. Then the people would become a part of the Borg, and then all of a sudden they would be intertwined and encapsulated by the Borg. They would be controlled by the Borg. Then everything that they had would be destroyed by the Borg. Integration did exactly that to us. We lost everything through integration. believing the lies, believing the untruth, being deceived. The scripture told us what? Believe, it says, let no man deceive you by any means. What you got?
Like, sir, I'm not old enough to remember what it was like before integration,
Right.
but I'm blessed to have grandmothers that were around, they're still around. And when I hear the stories about them being able to go to bed at nighttime and leave the doors wide open, windows wide open,
Right.
I always thought like, well, man, what happened to us? How did we get to this point now where the neighborhood is so unsafe?
Right.
We got to lock up the doors. We got to buy big dogs and have guns in the house. What happened?
Right.
And come to find out, the integration was
right. And I was going to say that to you. Integration is what happened. See, integration, when just like we said, when you integrate into that thing, you become that thing, then everything that you have is destroyed. So now a condition is created for you to live in. You understand? So now when you had excellent conditions, when you had the love of your neighborhood taken away, now everybody is on edge. You understand? Hence, they allow drugs to come into your community. First, they start off by what? An integration. Integration is start off by not giving you the means of a good living. When they create that condition, what rolls off of that condition? Now you have to do anything to survive.
restoration.
So now you begin to steal, you begin to rob, you begin to cheat. Basically, you become the oppressor. Now, if I can create a condition and keep that condition right here, call that condition hell, and create a condition over here and call it heaven, you can't get to heaven. But the only thing you see is something that you like. So you try to create it over here by rape, robbery, and murder, by doing the very things that your oppressor does.
Right.
You understand? Integration destroyed us as a people. I remember my aunts and my mother and all of them used to talk about that. You understand? Being able to leave the doors open. You understand? I remember going down to St. Mary's County, where my great-grandmother and grandfather lived at the time, being able to do that. Waking up in the middle of the night. That's the only thing I hated, going out to that outhouse. I didn't like doing that. You understand? Before they got indoor plumbing and stuff like that. But it was like that. I lived on the very end of it, on the cusp of the end of that era. You understand? Where I could just see all of that. You understand?
Right.
I lived on the end of the era where black people owned all the corner stores. The people who owned the corner stores used to live upstairs above the store. I lived on the end of that era. We gave away all of that. Remember this too, right? Integration happened in the 50s into the 60s. But you don't see the total effects and destruction of something like that until maybe 2 or 3 decades down the line. So if integration started in 1950, and I'm just throwing a number out there, you're really not going to see it till 1970 or 80.
Right.
By 1980, 1985, what was happening to our neighborhoods?
Drugs.
The crack era. You understand? Because a condition had been created, because we had given up everything that we had. Now, when we had our communities, they couldn't come in and bring drugs and everything into our community. It wasn't like that. You understand? It wasn't that easy. You understand? But when you give up everything that you have, and now you fall under segregation. Segregation meaning we can place you anywhere we want to place you. Create conditions to make it hard for you. Redlining and all of that. Gentrification, redlining, and all of that. You understand? We can create a condition and we can control the narrative. So now the narrative is controlled and created. So now look at us now. We don't own any shopping centers. We don't own any hospitals. You understand? We don't own any department stores. The very things that we don't own, that we need to sustain ourselves, we don't own. Think about it. We talked a few weeks ago about the farmers, about the farmers when the COVID hit. All of the oppressors' farmers got COVID relief. Our brothers are still fighting for 500. This is like $5 billion right now that they holding from the COVID funds. Remember when COVID hit?
Right.
2018. How many years ago was that? And they still haven't been, and slowly but surely the few farmers, think about it, right? After the Reconstruction, there were over 960,000 farmers, black farmers. I think they said today it may be about 46,000, 50,000. And the numbers are dwindling. You're not getting funding. You're not getting the same funding as your counterpart. You understand? It's a controlled condition. Now we live under their conditions. They control the narrative. Me and my rib watched a movie the other night, right? And they talked about how the brothers, I think they was in Louisiana or someplace like that, and they had property. They had beachfront property. And the oppressor wanted that property. So they made all kinds of phony papers and everything like that and said that these people was trespassing. They got deeds and everything. But the oppressor got bogus papers, bogus paperwork. Now think about this, right? And I'm going to tell you how horrible the oppressor is. We're watching a show, which is a real live show. They lock these brothers up. Trespassing, they say the trespassing charge is whether it's 2 or 3 days in jail. They lock these brothers up for 8 years. Right? Lost their property. They said the paperwork that these people had was bogus paperwork. They know it's bogus paperwork, and they still let them steal this property from these brothers. You understand what I'm saying? Destroying. This is what integration got us. Think about it. If you got your own police force, you have your own court system, you have your own justice system. You're living under your own laws and rules. But when you integrate into the laws, rules, and justice system of the very people that hate you and are out to destroy you.
Right.
We love to believe the untruth. Let no man deceive you by any means. And this is what happens to us. We get deceived every day, believing in the very people that destroy us every day. Oh, this is going to be the last one then. George Floyd is it. George Floyd is it. How many brothers been destroyed after George Floyd? How many brothers been murdered by police after George Floyd? See, we keep believing the same thing. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. That's a chant. You might as well make a song out of that now. It means nothing.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? No justice, no peace. I see these people laying down, getting peace every day. We get no justice, but they do get peace. They have peace of mind. Why? Because we live under their rulership. We have been deceived into it. We love to believe the untruth. You feel me?
Okay.
You want to drop that? Give me Ecclesiastes 12 and 10. Let me know when you get it. And while you're looking for that, think about this, right? We get deceived, we get hoaxed into following the oppressor, right? Now, Speaking of integration, look at Martin Luther King, right? You had Martin Luther King, you had James Farmer, John Lewis, A. Philip Randolph, Roy Wilkins, and Whitney Young, right? They were considered the Big Six. These were the leaders, so-called leaders of the civil rights movement, right? These were the leaders of the civil rights movement. In the beginning, none of them were leaders in the civil rights movement. But guess who put them there? JFK. JFK put him there because he heard that there was going to be a march on the White House, on the Capitol, right? So in order to control it, he took some people who were already on his side and his agenda. You understand? With his agenda in mind. Martin Luther King, A. Philip Randolph, Whitney Young, James Farmer, and all of them, the Big Six, right? He put them head of the march on Washington, promised them $1.5 million. Give them half of it before the march and give them the rest of it after the march. Everything went well, they got the other half. $250,000 a piece for all Big Six, right? $250,000. In today's terms, if you think about it, in the 1950s, $250,000. Now, I always do this too, right? My mother bought a Pinto wagon, fresh off the lot, 1973. I remember I was in the kindergarten, first grade, kindergarten, 1973 or 74, right? Fresh off the lot. It costed her, I believe, $2,800. Now think about it, right? Listen, that's 1974. Let's go back 20 years. 20 years.
Good night.
So now think about what $250,000 is worth.
At least $5 million.
So think about it, right? You could get a house in the 50s for maybe $7,000 to $8,000. You feel me? Nice house. So now we have our brothers selling our souls for a few pieces of silver. And I say a few pieces of silver because for $250,000, and let's say they did, let's just give them 2.5 million a piece. Let's just say it's 2.5 million a piece, right? For a few pieces of silver, look at what we lost. We lost everything. We are owners of nothing in America. Everything we got, we rent. Even the houses that you buy, you rent. How can you rent ground? How can you have a ground rent? Ground rent. You renting the ground. Think about it, right? You don't even control the airspace over top of your house. Ground rent, airspace. We own nothing. You understand? We don't own the thing because we had brothers to sell us out. And then think about it, right? I'm gonna tell you how bad it was. The Big Six had 4 oppressors over top of them. And if you can recall, you can look these names up, right? I'm gonna give you the first name, right? The first name was Walter Reuther. That's the president of the United Automobile Workers, right? Eugene Carson Blake, former president of the National Council of Churches. Matthew Amon, executive director of the National Catholic Conference for Interracial Justice. And listen to this one. Joaquin Prince, president of the American Jewish Congress. This was a Jewish rabbi. Jewish rabbi. So the Big Six had a Big Four over top of them. Every time we have a movement, we always seem to put the oppressor over top of us. The oppressor always ends up over top of us. Why is that? Because we like to believe the untruth. We like to believe that these people love us. We like to believe that these people are eventually going to help us. They're going to eventually have a change of heart and let us experience the American reality. You understand? You got that?
What was the last scripture?
That scripture was Ecclesiasticus chapter 12, verse 10. I didn't know if you was looking up. You was looking up those names?
Yeah, I was looking at his name.
Did you get one of them?
Yeah, I just got off of it. Yeah.
Well, you get a chance, you check those out. You know what I mean? Now, remember those 4 names that I gave you. If you need them, I can give them to you again. But those were the 4 that were over top of the big 6, Martin Luther King and his crew. Understand? Go ahead.
The book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 12 and verse 10. Never trust an enemy.
Never trust thine enemy. Listen, this is the problem with us as Israel. We love to trust our enemy. We know exactly who our enemy is, and we keep falling into that same trance time and time again. We continually fall into the same trance, believing that our enemy is going to have a change of heart, believing that something's going to give, believing that one day he's going to love us and bring us up to his level. Well, listen, think about it, right? Why would someone who has everything then would want to split everything that they have with you? Why would they do that? You understand? Think about it. Even as a child, right? When somebody say, give me half, a child will tell you, because this is a child's way. It's a selfish way. You understand? Our oppressor will never make us think about it. And that's not the way God created it to be. God gave us rulership over the earth. We should be ruling this earth. But instead, we are on the back end of anything about this earth. Rulership, say the least. You understand? We don't rule anything. We get all the rules. You understand? It says, never trust thine enemy. And we have a trust issue. We love to trust the enemy, but we hate to trust our brothers and sisters. Hate to put our trust in brothers and sisters. We'll continually go out and time again trust and do for the enemy, knowing that they're going to stab us in the back. But we won't give our brothers and sisters a single chance. Listen, they won't give us a chance at all. You understand? They won't give us a chance at all. Coming in here learning this truth. They'll believe a lie. They'll believe the hell out of a lie. You understand? Go ahead.
Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness.
It says, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Think about the properties of iron, right? And I am fortunate enough to work with iron and things like that. When you file and when you trim iron down, iron is shining and glistening. You let it sit for a few minutes, the rust spots begin to pop up. If you don't treat it with some kind of lubricant or oil or something like that, the rust begins to show through. It says, for like as iron rusted, so is his wickedness. Our oppressor's personality, his countenance, his attitude is just like rust. Eventually, if you be up under the oppressor long enough, his true intentions are going to show through. His true properties will show through. For like his iron rusted, so is his wickedness. His wickedness is eventually going to come out. the things that our oppressor says. Think about the things that Donald Trump said. You understand? He could talk like, and then all of a sudden, out of his mouth, you understand? You hear exactly how he feels. And the thing about it, Donald Trump don't care to let you. He don't mind letting you know exactly how he feels. You understand? It's them other ones behind him that try to pull that cloak and that veil over your eyes. You understand? For like as iron rusted, so is his wickedness. We have to understand who we are under. You understand? We got to stop believing these real untruths. You got to stop believing the lies. Stop believing the hype. Don't believe the hype. Remember that? We fall for it. We are destroyed as a people. You understand? Gentrification, redlining. You understand? Segregation. All of this stuff is the same. Separation is what we looking for. The Most High separated the nations. We should not be around any other nations. We should be separate from them. That does not mean that we cannot do business with them. We can do business with them. You understand? But we should be culturally separated from them. We should be morally separated from them. The scriptures tell us, and we used it last night, we should not make marriages with them. You understand? We should not marry our daughters unto their sons, nor shall we marry our sons unto their daughters. Interracial marriage has destroyed us. That's a real untruth right there. That's a lot. Listen, we talked about the propaganda last night. That's a big piece of propaganda. You understand? You ever see a lot of these shows now have mixed marriages, mixed children, and things like that. You understand? Because they know if they show it to you long enough, eventually it grows on us, especially us as Israel. We are visual people. You understand? If we see stuff enough, we begin to adopt and to adapt. You understand?
Right.
We adopt the culture, the custom, and we adapt. We begin to intermingle, intermarry. You understand?
Right.
These are the things that we do. You got something?
Lie, sir. I was gonna say once we get married to them and we integrate into them, and then we don't have nothing left of our own, like you said earlier.
Listen, yeah, and that's a big thing right there, because once you intermarry with them, you begin to think and to begin to see through the eyes of your oppressor. You understand? Everything that you were about, it was a show the other night, and oh man, I hate to see it. It's a sister on there, and she was dealing with a oppressor, and the oppressor would just come by whenever, blah. You understand? And she would not give the brothers any chance. You know what I mean? She would get close, and then oppressor pop up. You understand what I'm saying? Well, eventually the sister cut the oppressor off. Bang. You know what I mean? I start cheering. You know what I mean? But these are the things that get us, like propaganda. We talked about that last night. That was the subject last night. But these are the things where they keep putting it into your visual, that eventually it sits in the back of your mind.
Right.
And eventually it manifests itself in us carrying out those deeds. I remember back when I was young, it wasn't a lot of athletes that was married to oppressors. But now when you look at it today, and not only that, it's getting so bad that now you got them in high school. Oppressors snatching them up in high school.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Because they understand that all of that money he gonna make will come back to us anyway. So you get raped and robbed by your manager or your agent. You get raped and robbed by your lawyer, then you get raped and robbed by the oppressor that you land.
Right.
We love to believe the untruth. You understand? We're gonna drop that one. Let me see. Hold up. Let me see what we got with that. Yeah, let's go on with that. Let's go down to that 11.
So we still with Ecclesiastes.
Yeah, Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 11.
Well,
Verse 11. You got that? I got you though. Hold on. Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 11. Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him. Listen, this is our oppressor. You understand? Though he go crouching, we got to take heed. You understand? Because he's crouching because what? He has bad intentions for us. You understand? Though he goes crouching, though he humble himself. You understand? That's what they do. They make it seem like they humbling themselves, right? But they crouching. What happens when an animal crouches? Why does an animal crouch?
They crouch when they're about to attack.
About to attack. He humbles himself, but he's crouching at the same time because he has bad intention. But when he humbles himself to make you feel relaxed. You understand? You get comfortable. We get comfortable. This is the reason why we're going out on hunting trips with the oppressor, because he has humbled himself. Think about it. You got 6 people go out on a hunting trip. One is us. The one that doesn't come back is us. You understand? You're getting too comfortable. Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him. And thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped a looking glass. Think about it, right? By the time you see his true intentions, it's too late. Like wiping a looking glass. Oh, now I see what his intentions are, but by that time, most of the time, it's too late. We destroyed. We locked up. We dead and buried. You understand? Destroyed as a people. Trusting in the oppressor. You found it yet? Ecclesiasticus chapter 12, verse 11.
I can't get. I need a Bible. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. And thou shalt know that his rust has not been altogether wiped away. You see that? And thou shalt know that his rust. See, the rust can't be wiped away. You understand? Because the rust is his true property. That rust can't be wiped away. It's embedded in him. It's in his DNA. You understand? It's in his properties. It's a part of him. You understand? The scripture says what? What does the scripture say? Who can make that straight which I have made crooked? You heard that? Who can make that straight which he have made crooked? Let me find that. Hold on. Ecclesiastes 7 and 13. Let's grab that. Ecclesiastes 7 and 13. That should be in your regular Bible. Well, you got that? Ecclesiastes 7 and 13. Got it? Ecclesiastes 7 and 13. Read that for me. Yeah. Oh, listen. All right, let me read it. Let me read it. All right, listen. It says, consider the work of God, right? Consider all of the things that God has created, right? I always tell people, right? Ain't nothing greater than a chicken. You know why? Because you can have a fried egg for breakfast, you can have chicken salad for lunch, and you can have fried chicken for dinner. Ain't nobody can create anything better than that. That's the ultimate meal animal right there. God created that. You understand? God created that. Consider the work of God. You understand? Who could hang the sun and the moon in the air? You understand? Consider the work of God. Who could put the stars where they sit? You understand? Consider the work of God. Think about it, right? For who can make that straight which he hath made crooked? Think about it. The Most High made the oppressor the way he made him. And we sit around and we try to change the oppressor. Like there is a way that we could change him. There's nothing that can change the oppressor's ways. You understand? It says, consider the work of God. God created this oppressor to be the person that he is. Why do we sit and try to change him to make him in accordance to what we feel like he should be? Why don't we stay away from the oppressor like the Most High told us to do? Stop trying to be up under the oppressor and changing him. You understand? Consider the work of God. Who can make that straight which he hath made crooked? Listen, these scriptures tell us everything we need to know. Think about it. Anything that we need to know is right here in this Bible. Or any questions that you need answered are right here in this Bible. Listen, the scriptures say what? They have forsaken me, the fountain of living water. We have forsaken him because we veer off and want to do everything but what the Most High told us to do. Right. You understand? We try to reconstruct what the Most High has created. We try to rearrange the puzzle. You understand? To no avail. Well, this right here, Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, is where you get a true understanding. This is why everybody, all of our people should be up in these classes to get a true understanding. You know, this is where, you know, the rubber meets the road. This is where true understanding is, you know. You can drop that. You got that apocrypha, right?
Call.
Okay. Let's do Ecclesiasticus 12 and 13. That next not Ecclesiastes, but Ecclesiasticus. That's in the Apocrypha.
The book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 12 and verse 13. Who will pity a charmer that is bitten with a serpent?
Think about it, what it said, right? Who will pity a charmer that is bitten with a serpent? Remember that old saying, if you lay down with dogs, you get up with fleas?
No,
You know what I mean? You have to think about it, right? If you play with a serpent, what's bound to happen?
Don't get bit.
Listen, you lay down with a dog, you're bound to get up with fleas. You know what I mean? Who will pity a charmer that is bitten with a serpent? I mean, if you want to play with a beast, you have to expect to get hurt, you know? You want to sit and you want to vote for oppressors, you're going to have to expect to be disappointed. You want to sit and you want to live amongst your enemy, you have to expect that there's a possibility you could be destroyed. You understand? You want to send your children to a so-called all-oppressive school. You can probably bet your child is going to be destroyed. You know, we put more money into our oppressors than we do our own children. We spend so much money and so much time and effort on trying to integrate our children into the very society that have destroyed us. We go through all kinds of hell, and then we turn around and pay to put our children through those same hells. We hell of a parents. You know what I mean? We hell of a parents. I would never want me to be my parent. I'm gonna send me to a all oppressive school. You know what I mean? Listen, segregation was probably one of the best things for us, because at that time we knew exactly who our enemy was. We knew where we could go, what we could do, and who we were to take care of. We took care of our own during segregation. Separation is the best thing for us. See, when you being segregated means they're placing you where they want you to be. Separation is you moving and being where we want to be.
Right.
You understand? Controlling our own economy is separation. Controlling our own learning institutions is separation. You understand?
Oh, okay.
Controlling what we teach our children is separation. Segregation is learning under our oppressor, which is what's happening to us today. When you go to an all-black school, we're basically learning under the oppressor. That's what that is, you know? I'll read the rest of that.
Book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 12 and verse 13. Who will pity a charmer that is bitten with a serpent, or any such as come nigh wild beasts?
Anything or anybody that comes close to a wild beast. You come close to a wild beast, what's going to happen? You're going to get ravaged. You understand? Listen, we in the midst of wild beasts right now.
Right.
We're in the midst of wild beasts right now. Listen, Zephaniah 2:1 says what? Gather yourself together, yea. Gather together, O nation, I desire. That's a solid scripture right there. That's a milk scripture. That's a solid scripture. That's a scripture for every day. Gather yourself together, O nation, not desired. We are the only people that really don't understand that we are a nation of people. First, we are a nation of people. Secondly, we are not desired by the other nations. Gather yourself together. Ye gather together, O nation, not desired. No matter how many times you hear that, we'll still hear our people out there saying what? We got to get along. We got to live together. And we got to, you understand? We got to get along. We don't have to get along. We don't have to get along. We have to get along with our own people. We have to deal with the other nations. We don't have to get along. And does not mean we go out here and we kick butts and we fight and all of that. but we separate ourselves. Listen, the scriptures tell us we are a holy people. What does holy mean? Holy means to be separate. The word holy means to be separate. We think it means to run around the church and fall out and speak jabberish and gibberish and all of that dumb stuff when you running around the church acting stupid and acting a fool. Holy means to be separate. You read the Bible tells you that. But we like to believe an untruth. We would rather run around the church, act a fool, get tired, put all our money into the church and go home and still living the same issues and same problems that we've been having since day one. And it destroyed people. Listen, check this out, right? I'm gonna jump to another scripture. You can drop that. I got a good one right here too. Yeah, good one right here. Listen to this one, right? Psalms 58. Psalms chapter 58, verse 3. The wicked are estranged from the womb. Think about that, right? Let's say the wicked are estranged from the womb. Think about it. Who is the wicked? Who's running the earth? It says the wicked are estranged from the womb. It says they go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. Look at the lies.
That's scripture talking about Esau.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's Esau. It says the wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. Listen, it's in them to lie. Think about it. Everybody that celebrated Thanksgiving, think about the big lie that they told you how Thanksgiving started.
Right.
Think about the big lie of what they're going to tell you about Valentine's Day coming up. Think about the lie that they give you about Easter. You understand? These people are wicked from the womb. They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. Listen, we talked about it last night, right? They whitewashing history right now. Transatlantic slave migration. Your children and your grandchildren ain't gonna do nothing about slavery. They're gonna believe this is the way life is. Think about it. This is a home. They're creating homegrown slaves right now. When you don't know your true history, you're bound to repeat it. Think about it, right?
It's a lot. The Bible tells us that too.
Yeah.
Remember the ways of
days of old.
Oh,
Remember the days of old. Right? Where is that? Remember the days of old. I got that. Had it. Oh, I did. I know I had it up here somewhere. I got it. You got it. Oh, here, go right here. That's Deuteronomy 32:7. There. Ain't that it? Yep. Deuteronomy 32:7. Go ahead, read that. Yeah.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32 and verse 7. Remember the days of old.
It says, remember the days of old. What does that mean by remember the days of old? What does it mean? means never forget. Don't forget the things that have happened to you already. Remember the days of old. All those lynchings, all those murders, all those towns destroyed, burned to the ground. 1985, the MOVE movement bombing in Philadelphia. Never forget. The Rodney King beating in the 90s. Never forget. You understand? George Floyd. Never forget. What's that? Sandra Bland. Never forget. Alton Sterling. Never forget. Trayvon Martin. Never forget. What's his name? Brown. In New York. In St. Louis. Boy got killed for the cigars.
Money got choked.
Yeah. His last name Brown. I can't see the remember the days of old. Remember? And this is the reason why we have to have stuff written down. This is the reason why we have to remember. This is the reason why we have to pass things down from generation to generation. We cannot forget.
Right.
Michael Brown.
Yeah.
You understand? These things we have to embed these things into our minds. Because you begin to forget and these things begin to happen again. But listen, more than that, right? It says to never forget. The Most High told us to separate ourselves from them. You understand? Never trust your enemy. We can't forget these things. Remember the days of old. Consider the years of many generations. Consider the generations of hell that your son, your grandson, your great grandson, all of them have been through. You understand? Go ahead, read.
Remember the days of old. Consider the years of many generations.
Go ahead.
Ask thy father, and he will shew thee.
Listen, ask our fathers, and they will show us. They will show us what happened. You understand? They will go to the books and the pictures and show us. You ever see that little girl on that postcard picture when he had the brother hanging and the little girl standing there smiling on the postcard picture? And they used to have the hangings, the public hangings, have the children out there having lunch out there while they watching brothers and sisters being murdered. Ask the fathers, and they will shew you. Go ahead.
Thy elders, and they will tell thee.
Listen, the elders have the stories. You understand? Remember Captain Mama Quad in Chicago? You remember when the general did the interview with his grandmother? And she told those stories. You understand? Ask our elders. Our elders will tell us. We have to pass these stories down from generation to generation. You understand? This is how we begin to come up out of this hellhole. We have to remember what we've already been through. And not only that, we have to stop distancing ourselves from the pain of our brothers and sisters. We always say that, well, we need to go ahead and forget about that. We need to stop worrying about what happened in the past. No other nation of people forgets about their past. And the reason why they don't forget about their past because they don't want to relive their past. We're the only nation of people say, let's forget about the past. You understand? We're the only nation of people that do that. Go ahead.
Verse 8. When the Most High divided to the nations their inheritance.
Listen. Since when the Most High divided to the nations their inheritance. Read on.
When he separated the sons of Adam, he set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel.
He set the bounds in according to the number of the children of Israel. We got the portion. You understand? You ever seen somebody split something up and say you can have what's left over? We got the portion, the other nations got what was left over. You understand? We have to remember the days of old. Many generations. We have to ask our fathers and they will show us. Ask the elders and they will tell us. They have the stories. We can never forget. We continue to forget and we continue to believe these untruths. We continue to believe the lies. We continue to trust our enemies. We continue to live in this living hell. You understand? With that, we are the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, started out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under commanding General Yohana. We've been bringing this truth since 1969. And what is that truth? The truth is the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and natives are the true biblical Jews of the Bible. Listen, the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and natives are the descendants of the greatest people that ever walked the face of this earth. And the Bible identifies us as the 12 tribes of Israel. We are the true biblical Jews of the Bible. That we're going to give one courtesy salute to the teacher, men of Israel. I admire you. I Shabbat. I admire you. Barak.
Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shah, Rock the Thumb.
Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shah, Rock the Thumb. Got you, top. Class dismissed. Got that?